All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining. My name is Lisa Jung, and I'm a developer advocate at Elastic. So today, I'm going to give you a crash course on Elasticsearch and Grafana. So let's kick this off with a question. So who here has ever used the Elastic Stack before? So in the chat window, type yes if you've ever used it, and type no if you haven't. Okay, so it seems like majority of you have never used it before, even heard about it before. But even so, you may be using a lot of apps with certain features that are powered by the Elastic Stack. So for example, if you've ever searched for a ride on Uber, Elastic is the engine that powers the Uber marketplace that connects you to the driver. If you ever had mad cravings for tacos and were searching for open restaurants on Yelp, Elastic is powering that search. So it's hidden under a lot of the apps and websites that you use on a daily basis, which few of them are shown here. So what is the Elastic Stack exactly? Now, if you're a developer working with data, the Elastic Stack is a great tool to have on your belt. It consists of three parts: Elasticsearch, Grafana, and integrations. And with a stack, you could take data from any source in any format, then search, analyze, and visualize in real time. So some of the most popular use cases for the Elastic Stack are logging, metrics, and business analytics. For example, the Elastic Stack is used to store and analyze log data. In a specific example for all the gamers out there, Blizzard uses the Elastic Stack to analyze gamer and server events. So if the players experience a slowdown or an error, the monitoring team would use the Elastic Stack to figure out what's causing it. Now, it could also be used to gather metrics. And one of my favorite examples is the Mars Curiosity rover. It sends telemetry, sensor, and photo data into the Elastic Stack for analysis. So if someone wanted to know how hot Mars is on an hourly basis, you can go and pull the data. Lastly, if you have ever used Tinder, you probably didn't realize that the Elastic Stack was helping you find your match. So this is a technology behind using geolocations to match people together. And it's also used to analyze business needs and build custom applications so you could analyze and learn from the data. For example, Tinder relies on the Elastic Stack to analyze and predict which people a user will swipe right on, or which people will swipe right on that user, and when there's a match. Now, all of these use cases are made possible by the Elastic Stack. And with the stack, you could take data from any source in any format, then search, analyze, and visualize in real time. So it's a collection of three parts. First, we have Elasticsearch, which is the heart of the Elastic Stack. It allows you to store, search, and analyze your data. Then we have Grafana, which is a visualization tool. And it's a UI that helps you visualize and explore data in Elasticsearch. Then we have integrations. And integrations allow you to ingest data as well as connect to all the systems that matter. And you could also send alerts to your notification tool of choice. So this talk is an excerpt from the beginner's crash course to Elastic Stack. And this is a series of workshops that I post on YouTube. Now, I primarily focus on Elasticsearch and Grafana, and I'll give you a quick crash course on how to get started with these two products. So this workshop is originally about 50 minutes long. And since this is a 30-minute session, I had to shorten it quite a bit, but I'll give you the link to the full workshop video just in case you guys are interested. But for today, we'll start off by going over a scenario where Elasticsearch and Grafana could come in handy. Then we'll cover just a little bit of the basic architecture of Elasticsearch, and we'll wrap up by running CRUD operations with Elasticsearch and Grafana. So Elasticsearch is known as the heart of the Elastic Stack, and this is where you can store, search, and analyze your data. So let's go over a scenario where Elasticsearch may come in handy. Now imagine you're a lead developer responsible for building and maintaining an online grocery shop. And using the search bar, millions of customers will be searching for products that they want to buy. Now, a great search experience is key to have your customers to buy and keep coming back to your platform. And we want the customers to get fast and relevant results no matter the scale. Now, another important factor in search experience is relevancy. So the whole point of search is finding relevant data fast. And we want to be able to fine tune our search experience to get the information we want. And we also want most relevant results at the top and the least relevant at the bottom. For example, let's say a customer is searching for peanut butter and there are a ton of different brands. But what if a customer wanted to see peanut butter from highest to lowest rated brands? Or what if the customer is searching for sriracha hot sauce and misspells it? Well, we'll still want to pull up relevant search results, even though the customer's spelling doesn't exactly match the product data. So if you're in a situation where speed and relevance of your search is an important aspect of your work, Elasticsearch could come in really handy. So how does it look when Elasticsearch is connected to your app? Well, when a user sends a search request from your website, the request is sent to the server, which sends a search request to Elasticsearch. Now, Elasticsearch finds and sends a result back to the server, which processes the info and sends a result back to the browser. Now, let's go even one step further. So through your app, you're collecting a lot of data, such as order information, purchase history, and the list goes on and on. And we want to make use of that data. For example, we want to know what was the revenue for last month, or which products are most popular. So to answer these questions, you can enter relevant data in Elasticsearch so you can search and analyze your data to answer your questions. But data is so much easier to understand if you can visualize it. And this is where Kibana comes in, which helps you visualize and manage your data. So think of Kibana as a web interface to the data stored in Elasticsearch. So it allows you to search, view, and interact with your Elasticsearch data. So if you had a question about, what is the most popular product, or what was our revenue last month, you would enter relevant data in Elasticsearch. And from Kibana, send requests to Elasticsearch to get and analyze the data you want. Now, on top of that, you'll be able to create a dashboard with Kibana, so you could visualize data in a variety of charts, tables, and maps. In this way, you can gain insights more easily and be able to share that with your stakeholders. So if you're in a situation where you need to analyze and visualize data inside Elasticsearch, Kibana will come in really handy. Okay, so now that you understand when to use Elasticsearch and Kibana, we'll move on to the basic architecture of Elasticsearch. As you know, Elasticsearch, Kibana, and integrations make up the Elastic Stack. And among these, Elasticsearch is considered as the heart of the Elastic Stack, and it serves as a powerful search and analytics engine. And it's also known for its distributed nature, speed, and scalability. And this is due to its unique architecture. So when Elasticsearch is up and running, you have an instance of Elasticsearch, also known as node. Now, each node has a unique ID and a name, and it belongs to a single cluster. So we'll get to what that is in a bit. Now, when you start up a node, a cluster is formed automatically, and you can have one to many nodes in a cluster. Now, these nodes are distributed across separate machines, but they all belong to the same cluster and work together to accomplish a task. So let's really bring this concept home. So think about a team that you've been a part of. So your team consists of multiple members who all work together to accomplish a common goal. And your team could divide and conquer by assigning each member one or multiple roles. And these are the roles that you're going to specialize in. Now, your team members may work in different buildings, but you all still belong to the same team. And this analogy directly applies to nodes in a cluster. So for example, nodes are members of a cluster that share a common goal. Nodes are distributed across separate machines, but they're still part of the same cluster. Nodes are assigned to one or multiple roles. And one of the roles that a node could be assigned to is to hold data. And that is what we'll be focusing on today. So data is stored in Elasticsearch as documents. And a document is a JSON object that contains whatever data you want to store in Elasticsearch. So let's say we're running an online grocery shop app and we're helping our customers to search for grocery items online. So we need to store grocery data in Elasticsearch. Now, a document for one grocery item would look like this. So in a JSON object, it contains a list of fields or key value pairs. So for example, it has the name of the product, the category it belongs in, its brand, and price. Now, things are easier to find when you group them in a logical manner. And documents that share similar traits and are logically related to each other are grouped into an index. So for example, documents of carrots and clementines will be grouped under the produce index. Documents of Malbec and IPAs will be grouped under wine and beer index. So to sum up, indices are used to group documents that are related to each other, so we know where to find certain information. Okay, so now that you understand the basics of Elasticsearch, we're going to move on to the tutorial, and we'll get to play with Elasticsearch in Kibana. Now, the goal of this tutorial is to get familiarized with CRUD operations. So in other words, how do we create, read, update, and delete a document from Elasticsearch? So to do this, we're going to use Elasticsearch in Kibana. Now, there are multiple options for accessing these two products. One option is to use Elasticsearch in Kibana hosted on Elastic Cloud, and it handles all the heavy lifting of managing the stack, so you can focus on what really matters, the product that you're building. So with this, you get a free 30-day trial. There's no credit card required, and the trial expires on its own. And I find that for beginners, it's easier and faster to get started on Elastic Cloud. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. Okay, so let me show you how you can access Elasticsearch in Kibana through Elastic Cloud. Now you see this link on the top of the screen here. So this is a go-to link for all the resources I'll share with you. Now this link is included in the PDF of this presentation, and the presentation has been already uploaded to the event page. So feel free to download if you want these resources. So first, you'll go to this link and click on part 1. It'll take you to this repo here. Scroll down to the resources section and click on free Elastic Cloud trial. Now, then you'll see this free trial page. I'm going to breeze over the setup because I don't expect you to do this right now. You can always watch a recording later if you want to try this on your own. So first, click on try it free option. Once you do that, it'll prompt you to enter your email and password, then start your free trial. Then it will ask you to log into your Elastic Cloud account. So enter your information and log in. And this will take you to the page here where you'll click on Start Your Free Trial. Now, once you do that, it'll ask you to create your first deployment, name your deployment to whatever it makes sense to you, then click on Edit Settings option. Then it will give you options to configure your deployment setting. So first, you would choose a cloud provider of your choice. So let's say you have an app and you want to integrate it with Elasticsearch. But if your app is running on Google Cloud, you don't want Elasticsearch running in a different cloud provider because that'll cause latency issues. But for what we're about to do, doesn't matter which one you choose, just select one. Afterwards, select the region close to you. Then select your hardware profile. So Elasticsearch offers several deployment templates for different use cases and workload, and each template selects the appropriate cloud hardware configuration for different needs. But if you're just getting started or don't quite know your needs yet, then go with the storage optimized option. Then select the latest version of the Elastic Stack, which at the moment is 8.1. Now, once you have configured your setting, click on Create Deployment option. And this will display the deployment credential. Save this credential somewhere as they're only shown once, then click on Continue button. And this option will take you to the Kibana homepage. And when you click on DevTools, it'll take you to the Kibana console. So click on Dismiss and delete the default query shown here. And now we're finally ready to use Kibana to send requests to Elasticsearch. So let's do a quick review before we get to the CRUD operations. So remember, Elasticsearch is a search engine. When a user sends a search request from your website, the request is sent to a server, which sends a search request to Elasticsearch. Elasticsearch will then find the info, sends it back to the server, which processes the info and sends the results back to the browser. And the same process can be mimicked and tested with Kibana, which is a UI that communicates with Elasticsearch. And when you deploy on Elastic Cloud, Elasticsearch and Kibana are automatically prepped and ready to go. And the cloud automatically creates multiple nodes that are grouped into a cluster. And as you know, Elasticsearch is receiving search requests and sending the results back all the time. And this communication is handled by HTTP requests. So in the tutorial, we'll be learning about the HTTP requests we could send to create, read, update, and delete data in Elasticsearch. Okay, so let's get set up here real quick. Okay, so we have two windows open side by side. On the left, we have the Kibana console. On the right, we have the workshop repo I shared with you earlier. Now, if you go to the Kibana console, this is divided into two panels. On the left is where we send the request we want to send to Elasticsearch. And on the right is where we'll see the response from Elasticsearch. Now, we're going to go over the CRUD operation. In other words, how do we create, read, update, and delete a document? So for this exercise, we're going to store documents about our favorite candy. Now, you know that documents are logically grouped into an index. So as a best practice, we're going to create an index first. So let's go to our repo and scroll down to create section here. So to create an index, we use the HTTP verb put. So put followed by the name of the index. And since we're indexing documents about our favorite candy, we'll name our index favorite_candy. So let's copy and paste that into the console. Make sure to select and send. Now, when you see acknowledge true, it means that index named favorite candy has been successfully created. Okay, so now that we have an index, let's index some documents. And this time I'm using index as a verb to mean that we're storing documents in Elasticsearch. So let's scroll down to index a document section here. Now, this is C, the create part of a CRUD operation. And when you're indexing a document, both HTTP verbs post and put could be used. Now, you would use post if you want Elasticsearch to auto-generate an ID for your document. So the syntax you follow for that is post followed by name of the index, document endpoint, followed by a JSON object with whatever information that you want to store in Elasticsearch. So in our example, we're saying post in favorite candy index the following document. And our document has fields called first name and candy. So let's copy and paste that request into the console. Make sure to select and send. And you'll see that the index favorite candy, a document with an auto-generated ID has been created. Okay, so now let's turn to your repo and scroll up to index a document. So we said when indexing a document, both post or put could be used. Now we just went over post, so we'll move on to when you would use put to index a document. So you would use put if you want to assign a specific ID to your document. And a time where you might want to use this is when you're indexing data with a natural identifier. So for example, let's say you're indexing patient data where each patient has a unique ID. And documents may be easier to work with if they have the same document ID as the patient ID, rather than an auto-generated ID that has no meaning, because it's easier to just keep everything uniform across multiple data sources. So this time, we're going to index a document using put. So if you look at the repo, the syntax you use for that is put followed by name of the index, document endpoint, and the ID that you want to assign to this document here. So in our example, what we're saying is put in favorite candy index the following document and assign it an ID of 1. So let's copy and paste that into the console. Make sure to select and send. And you'll see that document with an ID of 1 has been created. Okay, so now that we have indexed a document, I want to send a request to see the content of the document that has been indexed. So this is the read part of the CRUD operation. So turn to your repo, scroll down to read section here. And the syntax that you'll use for that is get followed by name of the index, then the document endpoint, then the ID of the document that you want to retrieve. So in our example, we're saying get document with an ID of 1 from the index favorite candy. So let's copy and paste that into the console. Make sure to select and send. And you'll see that document 1 has been retrieved. And if you look under the source field, you'll see the content that we indexed earlier. So this is a great way to check whether our CRUD operations have worked or not. Now, let's scroll down to update. So there will be times where you'll want to update an existing document. For example, let's say John originally liked Starburst, but he changed his mind. His favorite candy now is M&Ms. So let's go back to our repo, and the syntax you'll use for that is post followed by name of the index, then the update endpoint, then the ID of the document that you want to update. Now in a JSON object, make sure you add doc as a context here. So what this is telling you is to only update the fields specified in the inner bracket here. So in our example, what we're saying is post in favorite candy index. I want you to update document with an ID of 1. But please note that I only want to update the field candy with M&Ms. So let's copy and paste that into the console. Make sure to select and send. And you'll see that document 1 has been updated. Okay, so let's make sure document 1 is updated correctly. So we're going to scroll down and go back to this get request here we sent earlier. So make sure to select and send. Now you'll see that document 1 has been retrieved. And if you look under source, you'll see that the field candy has been updated with M&Ms. Okay, last but not least, what if we want to delete a document? So this one is super simple. Scroll down to delete, and the syntax you follow for that is delete followed by name of the index, document endpoint, and the ID of the document that you want to delete. So in our example, we're saying delete document 1 from index favorite candy. So let's copy and paste that into the console. Make sure to select and send. And you'll see that document 1 has been deleted. And if you send the same GET request to retrieve document 1, you'll get a 404 error because document 1 no longer exists. Okay, so we are going to wrap up here. Now, if you want to learn more about Elasticsearch and Kibana, we have more in the series for you. So I have 2 series posted on YouTube. The Beginner's Crash Course consists of 6 workshops that are about an hour long each. And we talk about search relevance, full text queries, aggregations, mapping, and troubleshooting errors. And the series will help you get the fundamental concepts you need to get started with Elasticsearch and Kibana. Then we have the mini Beginner's Crash Course. These are short 10-minute videos that go over the same content as the Beginner's Crash Course series. And this was created for those who prefer shorter videos. And now I'm currently working on season 2 of Mini Beginner's Crash Course. And the season will focus on how to use Elasticsearch within an app, how to visualize data with Kibana, and how to manage time series data with data stream and index lifecycle management. Now, season 2 will be uploaded in the Mini Beginner's Crash Course playlist, so stay tuned for that. Okay. So we went over a lot. So let me see if you guys ask any questions in the Q&A section here. Okay, so I see one Q&A. Have no idea what Elastic Stack is. Hopefully my presentation answered that question. Let's see here. Do we have any other questions? Doesn't seem like it. Anybody want to ask me a question? Oh, yes, I see a hand raised. Tara?
Hey, I have a quick question.
Yes.
Would we be able to see an example of like back on the console, how multiple how to query the data for something that's repetitive? So say you have like 2 people, John and Sam, who like M&Ms. Is there, when you get that GET request, will it just return both of them in order? Like both of their profiles or their specific doc IDs in order?
So when you mean when you send a GET request and there are like 2 people with the same like favorite candy, will that show in order of the doc ID? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Can you like show that really quickly on the console?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that. Okay, so I'm actually going to, let's do this. Okay, so as you remember, we have a document 1 with John as the name and candy M&Ms that we updated. So here we'll say Tara. And what is your favorite candy, Tara? Oh, actually, no, it has to be the same. So it has to be M&Ms. Let's see here. How did I spell it? Okay. Candy. Oops. Okay. I'm gonna say this is a CRUD doc 2. Oh, wait, what am I doing here? Okay. So we'll say document 2 with first name Tara. Her favorite candy is M&Ms here. And then what you would do as a GET request, be GET favorite candy, search, query, let's see, candy as M&Ms. All right. Oh, whoops. No start object. Hold on 1 second. Query field. Match. All right. Okay. ID 2. Hold on. I think something went. I must have made a mistake. 1 second. Okay, so I'm creating another document. All right, so there are 2 documents where the candy's value is M&Ms. Let me send that again. Okay, there we go. Now we get 2 documents back. It looks like it's showing in the order of document ID in this case.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Sorry about the mishap. I'm just getting all tongue-tied over here.
No worries.
Cool. Okay, it seems like we're almost up to the hour. Let's see. Do we have any other questions
We do
before
have
we
two
wrap?
more questions in the chat box. One is from Patty, and she's asking if it's possible to export the data. And the other one's from Michelle, if you have the time to talk about the company a little bit.
Okay. Oh, how are we doing on time though? It's like 1:30. I mean, I'd be happy to write up the answers to the question and forward it to you if the timing is like very.
Absolutely. Well, the event's slated to end at 3:30. If you're busy, we totally understand if you need to hop off. And if you can write up a little answer, I can send that out to the attendants or
Yeah,
put it in the
absolutely.
Hoover chat.
Sure. Do you mind if I email, who should I email? Jenny? With,
I think that
or,
would work.
okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Lisa,
Thank you.
this is Michelle from the center. If you have time and you can respond to those questions, if people need to get off the call, they can, but they may have availability to stay for a few minutes if you have the time.
Oh, I actually have to hop off. So that's
Okay. All right. Understood.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Okay.
Well, I do think I saw Stephanie on the call. Does she have a minute perhaps to talk a little bit about the company? Did she hop
Hi,
back
yeah,
off?
no, I'm here. Yeah, there was a question just about what the company is essentially, or just.
Yeah, a little bit about Elastic.
Oh, okay. I mean, yes, I will, full disclosure, don't go into the technical pieces, just because that is not necessarily my forte. That is definitely more Lisa's. But essentially, I'll talk a little bit about the company and also by Lisa. My role within the company specifically, because I think that would be something everyone's interested in as it relates to all of you. So essentially the company was a startup probably, I think about seven years or so ago when they created, it was built as a search company, purely search. So the software was just used open source, so anyone could access it for free. From there, they kind of built on to those products and offerings with security and data visualization, and really just a kind of a whole suite of products to use, based around search. So when you're querying data and things like that, you're able to use it in different functionalities. So if you're interested in security, we have a whole kind of security realm as well. The company on more kind of the, I guess, more soft skills side of it, it's a fully distributed company. So that means that we all work from home all around the world. So we had offices here and there, but when COVID hit, we were kind of already in that mode of working from home. And so you are basically working with colleagues all across the world, and all from the comfort of their own home. And that was just how the company was built. They built on a distributed model, so it wasn't an adjustment for them. As they brought people on, they kind of built it around bringing people on from different areas, which just really allows a lot of flexibility in terms of who they're bringing on, and allows them to get access to talent wherever they are. So essentially, you could work for Elastic and go travel the country in your van if you want to, and people have done that. And so to just kind of talk a little bit about what my role with the company is usually with any software company, any tech company, you're going to have a community component to it where they are focused on kind of engaging with those that are users of the technology or of the software, engaging with them, educating them, connecting them with one another. All of these things kind of just help to increase kind of the visibility of the company, but also just their connection with those kind of supporters on the ground level. Some of these are users in industry, or some of them are students like yourself, who are just exploring their options. So it really, runs the gamut when it comes to who the community includes. So one arm of community is what I oversee, which is Elastic for Students and Educators. And so they decided, much like a Google Classroom or an AWS for education, they wanted, Elastic really is passionate about kind of bringing their software into the hands and putting it in the hands of students and educators and bringing it into higher education, knowing that by providing you kind of those skill sets, those applicable skill sets that companies are looking for and is growing within industry, that, students are going to be much more apt to succeed, post-college, and be able to bring their Elastic skill set into their next job and hopefully kind of become an advocate for our software and what we can do. So I was brought on essentially to build a program around that and how we educate students and how we provide them with access to our products and support as they use them. So it's called Elastic for Students and Educators. We really do a variety of things, but really the most important thing for students out there watching is that we are here to support you. So we provide free access to Elastic Cloud. We provide a wealth of training and support as you move forward. We also work with a lot of educators to bring elasticians into a classroom virtually or in person to kind of talk about what we do and what our products are, and much like what Lisa did today. And then we will be launching a student educator user group probably within the next couple of weeks so that you'll be able to connect with one another just within that higher ed and student community to hopefully kind of build out that next part of Elastic community. So if you are, and I will put my information in the chat, but it's also, I think it's visible, within the summit on our booth. But if you do have questions or you are interested in using Elastic for a product or for a project, and obviously you are not going to pay for the subscription, we don't expect students to pay, or you're an educator, or you think this would be relevant in your class, really anything, you can just reach out to me. We can have a discussion about what you need, how we can support you, how we can collaborate. And that's really what my role is and what Elastic for Students and Educators is all about. So it's really kind of giving you that opportunity to play around with it, to explore, to kind of broaden your skill set. And, hopefully we can kind of support you as you do that. So I know I went from like, what is our company to like, what do I do? Hopefully that addressed some questions, but I'm happy to answer questions that aren't super technical because that is not my role, but I'll be happy to answer questions about the company, about how we can help you, anything like that. I'll kind of open it up and see if there's anyone who has anything. I will also
Great, Stephanie. I think that's really helpful, and just want to highlight for people who are still on the call, there is additional information, as Stephanie said, in the exhibitor section of Whova. There's a booth for Elastic. They've got a video, they've got some additional information. They have Stephanie's contact information as well. So that's another place for you all to get some information.
Yeah, and I just threw it in the chat too. It is out there. And I will also, once we launch that user group within the next couple of weeks, I will include our partners at IU. And so hopefully, that word will also get out to all of you. So you can certainly join, but the information will be available on our website too. But it'll be a great place to do, and it'll be really content driven around workshops and kind of experiential learning, and then just give you opportunities to participate in different Elastic events.
Thanks a lot, Stephanie.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for attending. And yeah, don't hesitate to reach out. If you have any questions or you want to talk about Elastic, happy to help. Thank you.
That was fast and furious. She's done that before, huh?
She is, yeah, she is pretty like, she has a whole series. I think it's like 6 parts to that.
Okay.
That one's usually an hour long. So yeah, so there's quite she really focuses on like kind of beginner education, and moving from there. So yeah, she's got quite a few, built on after that, but she's a technical expert. I'm I just manage the pieces.
Stephanie, you might not be remembering, but you and I met when we first started this with Maureen.
Yeah, definitely.
So, good to see you.
I feel like it's been a year, but like also not a year.
It's been a while. It has, yeah. You had a nice turnout.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah. That's awesome.
And I knew she started right away because I hopped on right at 3, and so then I was side chatting Spandita, like, did you start early? Because I didn't hear any introductions, and I guess she just like hit the ground running. So
Yeah, she kind of jumps right in. She's a very scheduled person.
Yeah. So, that's kind of why I was like, hey, can someone talk about the company? Because I think that's what students are interested in learning too.
What do you all do? Yeah. Well, yeah, if there's any questions or anything like that, I mean, obviously feel free to bounce them back to us or to me specifically, and we can certainly get them information that they need.
Good. Well, thank you once again.
Absolutely. Thank you guys.
You need to get onto, but appreciate your time, and it was a great session. And Spundy did a nice job. Hopefully we get some people to complete the evaluations.
Definitely. Well, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Take care.
You have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Okay. Bye. You can cut.
I'm just going to stop the recording.
Yep, you certainly can. Thanks. Nice job.